Hey y'all, thanks so much for tuning in to my YouTube channel this week. I appreciate it. So last week I had said that I was going to kind of share my testimony and my story, and I'm really excited to share it. I don't get to share it too much, but I just kind of wanted to share it and put it out there and give someone out there hope that maybe is in the same kind of situation or has been through something similar, that, there's always hope. I promise there always is. I still experience hope to this day. So rewinding about, I don't know, June 2014 is where we'll start the story. I was dating this guy at the time, and, I thought he was great. We got along pretty decently, even though we were starting to kind of hit a rocky point in the relationship. We hadn't been dating for too long, and, it seemed like it was going okay. I had just graduated with my associate's degree from a community college here in Omaha, and was working full-time, and I was working a part-time job. Well, around then is when things kind of started to fall apart. He and I started to argue more. He just kind of started to treat me a little bit worse. I lost my full-time job, so my part-time job became my full-time job. And I was just really lost at that point. I wasn't, going to church. I wasn't doing anything. And July 3rd, 2015, I found out I was pregnant, and I was so excited. I was so excited because I've always wanted to be a mom. I felt like I was ready to be a mom. I had all the family support. I told all my family that weekend, both my mom's side and my dad's side, because we had 2 different 4th of July parties that weekend, so I was super pumped. I was super excited. He and I seemed to get along a little bit better because of it. I mean, we still wound up breaking up a couple weeks later just because things weren't getting resolved that needed to get resolved. Those are in the past. It's minor details at this point, but I was pregnant. I was so excited. I was ready to be a mom. Well, my first appointment was August 1st, and I still remember I was so excited for the appointment, and I was so excited to, go, hear the heartbeat, do the first-time mom stuff that so many other people have gotten to do, that I've gotten to see. And I remember being in the room with my parents and the baby's dad, and the nurse had the wand on my stomach, and she was moving it around, and she had a look at her face, and she showed the screen, and it showed the, the ultrasound picture, and I was like, oh, is that Peanut? Like, really excited. And, she didn't say anything, and my heart just sunk in that moment because I was terrified. I didn't think it was good news that she was going to give me. And she said, well, there's no heartbeat. So, and my world just kind of stopped. It stopped for a little bit that day, and I didn't know how to handle it. It's still crazy to believe that was so long ago, because sometimes it feels like it was forever ago. Sometimes it feels like it was just the other day. So that was one of the hardest moments of my life so far, was hearing someone say that there's no heartbeat of the life inside of you and you're not going to be a mom. I cried a lot that day. I cried a lot for like the next few weeks. It was really hard because I was so excited, and that was my first post about it on Facebook. I put heaven got another angel, and I put the greater than sign and with the slash and the 3, or less than, whatever it is. That I did the heart thing, but with anyway, it's not important. And I mean, it was amazing because I saw people that I didn't realize had gone through it were telling me their stories, and it was really, it was cool, but it was heartbreaking in the same moment, just because, like, yeah, you guys have gone through the same thing too, but I feel like a majority of the people that told me, which gives me hope, had kids. So I have hope that one day I'm going to be a mom. But so that's kind of where it all started. And I've very specifically remembered I got a new job. I started like a week after I had my what's called a D&C procedure. So I didn't have to naturally miscarry. It was just less painful for me in the long run, which I'm thankful I did that. So I started like a week later at this job, and I wasn't super happy there, not just because of the outside circumstances. I just didn't like the job I was at. And I specifically remember one night I was just sitting there, and the emotional weight of what had happened, like, I had a miscarriage, I lost a child, hit me really hard this one night. And I just remember I sat at my work desk and I was just crying my eyes out. I just couldn't stop crying my eyes out. Thankfully, there were no phone calls that night because I wouldn't have been able to take them. But I texted my mom and I said, Mom, I'm just having a really bad night. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And she just told me to pray for strength. And in my head, I went, how do I pray when I can't even talk right now? And what it felt like for a long time for me was being in a storm. Like, think of the darkest, blackest, craziest, like, storm at sea that you can see, that you can think of. Now, I felt like I was in the middle of that for a while, that I was about to drown, that I was going to go under. I kept feeling the waves coming over me, and I was going to get crushed under it. Now, the amazing thing is that one of my cousins, who loved me very dearly, was still inviting me to church and still, pursuing me. And finally I just said, yes, I'll come. Like, if you stop bothering me, I'll come. So my first day at Calvary was today, January 18th, 2015. So it's been 3 years that I've been going, and that first day was really something because there was the Packers-Seattle playoff game where, it's the game before the Super Bowl to determine who goes, and I wore my Jordy Nelson shirt, and we were in a high school auditorium for a church, and I sat in like the middle of the third or fourth row, and the pastor, who's a former NFL player himself, he was like, who's watching these games today before we get in this Bible study? I gotta ask. And my hand shoots up because I'm wearing my Jordy Nelson shirt, and he goes, oh, 97, don't you gotta be somewhere? And I'm like, no, it's 87, it's Jordy Nelson. And he goes, oh yeah, Jordy. And he's like, so the NFC is the Packers. And I'm like, the NFC is the Packers in Seattle at Seattle, because with everything that had happened up to this moment, football had really and honestly been my whole world, because it's all I had to focus on. I got to watch it every weekend with my dad. He taught me a lot about it. I've still grown in my football knowledge, but that's all I had was football at that time in my life. So, and he's like, okay, so the AFC, I think it's the Patriots. I'm like, the AFC is the Colts and the Patriots at New England. And, everybody laughed around me, and that's fine. I'm used to that when I talk about stuff I'm passionate about. The lady in front of me turned around, though, and she goes, well, aren't you just every man's dream? And I said, well, yeah, my dad raised me right. So, fast forward a little bit. I've been going to Calvary. I'm in a Bible study. I'm pretty involved. And March 1st, 2015 was my altar call date. It was my salvation date when I dedicated myself to the Lord for the first time. And it was an emotional day. I mean, there's a lot of emotional days in my life, but that was one of the bigger ones. And it was cool because my cousin that continually kept inviting me to Calvary did the altar call with me. So that's kind of a moment that I think helped to build our relationship up a little bit more than what it was, and kind of gave us a good basis to keep moving forward in our relationship. So then, fast forward a couple months later, June 27th, 2015 is when I was baptized, which was a really cool experience. Like, I didn't even know what to say, but I broke down in tears just because it was just a really cool moment of my life that I'm very blessed to have. And it's even cooler that our lead pastor at Calvary Omaha, Todd Doxson, was one of the ones who baptized me because of the moment that we had my first day at Calvary, like 5.5 months previously. So June 27, 2015 to now has been one of the craziest rides that I've been on. There's been a lot of ups and downs with me. Thankfully, the Lord is always there and consistent, and he's never not there. But it's been a wild ride. I honestly have walked away a few times from the church due to personal things. I don't know what lies I believed, but I walked away, and I'm very blessed to be part of a church community that welcomed me back with open arms and grace and love. And I've walked away because of a guy. I've walked away mainly because of my emotions, if we're being honest. And that's never a reason to walk away from anything, especially a church family that loves you and just wants the best for you. So anyone out there who's still tuned in right now, I just want to give you hope. There is hope. I don't believe it sometimes, and then God is gracious to remind me that he is always there. He still loves me. He still loves you. There is a plan for your life, even though it doesn't feel like it. It might not be what you expect it to be, but there is a plan for your life. I promise He has something for you that is better and greater than what you can imagine. So know that there is hope, even if it doesn't feel like it every single moment of every day, because it's not going to. But just keep pressing in, like I'm still learning to do over 3 years later, almost 3 years later. So I just want you to know that there's hope, that it's okay to not feel confident in it all the time, but just know that you're a child of God. Like, you're amazing and wonderful, and He's chosen you, and that's something to walk in every single day, and I hope that you do, because when you walk in that, it changes everything, because I've experienced it myself. So yeah, I hope you guys, got a good message from this video, that you got a good word, that you got some hope, maybe some encouragement, whatever you got from it. I just hope it's a positive light for you. I hope that you'll subscribe to the channel. I hope that you will, just keep tuning in for my upcoming series of videos that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm really excited about it. And I'll share more about it on my video Tuesday next week when I let you all know what I'm going to do for this next series. So, again, know that there's hope. There is always hope. Feel free to reach out to me if you need someone to talk to, and I will do my best to, help direct you to the Word, help direct you maybe to help find a local church that you could get connected with, or whatever. I hope that you are just encouraged and that you really know that there is still hope. So thanks so much for tuning in this week. I appreciate it so much, and I'll see you guys next week.